How do Mime Artists, and welcome back to the last set of available main stages. First up here we have Carvanha, and what I've done is I brought Carvanha along. As Carvanha, it will disrupt you with a lot of itself. As you can see here, there's already a lot on the board, more will come with each disruption. So brought Carvanha along. I've got Meloetta there just for the possibility of the nosedive. Luckily went off there. Good timing. Heracross, that's there, as its mega ability can be relatively useful with how many Carvanha there are. It's a relatively easy stage. Mega Heracross will occasionally, possibly, perhaps be able to help you when the disruptions come along. Genesect, again, just there really for the power. Not much to the stage. Relatively easy to beat, easy to get an S rank, no doubt, just after a couple of times. I would have probably been able to do it if I just made a couple of better moves, but there we go. Next up here is Vulpix, and this is a full water team. We've got Wailord, Manaphy, Winking Manaphy, Swampert, and Primarina. Most of these are just here for the power. The Winking Manaphy, that's for the Rock Break plus, I think. That way it just gets rid of all of the blocks that you'll see on the board, as there will be a lot. Vulpix does disrupt you with quite a few blocks in each of its disruptions. As you'll see here, there's nothing else you really need to worry about, so take along Winking Manaphy. That gets rid of about 5 of them. Maybe make a match next to some of them, and that'll get rid of more. This stage isn't too shabby. One of the things to look out for is the amount of moves. I think it's only an 8 move stage. Can be a little bit tricky because of that. That means in terms of the S rank, take along a +5 moves, even if you've only got 1 move left or no moves that would be there normally, so you'll end up probably with about 5 or 6 moves and you'll get the S rank, no bother. Swampert here, pretty useful for all of those water Pokemon. I'm a big fan of some of the combo makers. Luckily I did get it on some of the last combos. Fine stage, nothing really to worry about. This is probably one of the easiest ways to do it. Let me know if you've got any other ideas down below. Next up we have Snivy, and this is a similar team, it's just with the fire. So we've got Mega Blaziken, Ho-Oh, Incineroar, and Reshiram. Forgot the name for a second. So this one is a puzzle stage again, so if you follow these moves as they are, you'll be able to beat it, no issue. It's not really too difficult of a puzzle, you just only want to make 1 move in each turn. There's probably a way to do it that's a lot better, that leaves you with absolutely nothing at the end. This one left me with a couple of Chespins and a Bulbasaur, but they will go away throughout the course of this. In this stage, quite a few barriers, so that's what the Reshiram's there for, just to get rid of those barriers that will crop up on the field. Snivy disrupts every couple of turns, so can be quite useful for that. Beyond that, you're not really going to be able to make that much of a combo, so things like the Ho-Oh and the Blaziken could probably be swapped out if you wanted to go for, you know, Charizard X or Y. I'm not sure if any of those would fit the pattern exactly, but they could be somewhat useful. If you wanted to go in possibly with water types as well, it's another way to do it. See what you feel like once you're in on the stage, see how it goes. 1 move left. In terms of the S rank again, maybe just a +5 moves, there weren't that many for this one. I've not caught it yet. I think this is a repeat stage, 13%. I'll probably just do this maybe 2 or 3 more times, get the hang of the flow, maybe do a +5 moves, get the S rank and get the capture. Won't need a Great Ball or anything like that. Next up is Basculin, and this one is somewhat difficult. I found it anyway. It took me quite a few turns with some different teams. I used a full grass team. The Mega Sceptile way didn't really work, as you need the Zekrom there for the Block Smash Plus. The Sun Cairn, it's mostly just there for the possibility of the Eject Plus Plus. It's super effective. You could go for something like the Escavalier, I think is the Eject Plus Plus bug Pokemon. Wouldn't be super effective, but would still have the Eject Plus Plus if you've not got the Sun Cairn. Give it a shot, see how it goes. The starting field isn't really the best for quite a few, for getting things like the Shaman and such. I was able to get a Shaman off first time on one of the runs, but it was just a little bit difficult, so I would recommend a +5 moves and probably a disruption delay. If you don't disrupt it, there's just an excessive amount of Basculin that go on the field, and because this isn't a repeat stage, there's no way to be able to get those off in the ways that usually repeat stages do, so you're just using the same Pokemon bringing that along. It might work once you've been able to catch it. If you've not got the S rank before you catch it, give that a shot. See if it works. Sometimes they'll bring in a 5th support Pokemon, I'm not too sure about this stage, but you could give that a shot and then just avoid the disruption delay. Don't take a Shaman or anything like that. The Ampharos, Mega Ampharos, relatively useful, it's super effective, and it's okay for combos. You can't really determine what it's going to do, but it's relatively fine in the broad scheme of things. Beat it, 2 moves left. For the S rank, you'd probably need to spend quite a few coins if you're not taking Basculin itself. So maybe give it a shot, wait until you can beat it relatively reliably, and then maybe take it back in, see how that goes. Wasn't able to catch it, 12%, not the best, but that was with the +5 moves, so 12% is the base catch rate. A rank, not terrible, not the best. Next up here is Larvesta, delightful 3 Pokemon stage. So it's just Gengar, Incineroar and Ho-Oh, the 3 usual suspects if you're doing something like this. And for this stage it's not too difficult. There's no real disruptions to speak of. These breakable blocks will go away in just a couple of turns once the combos start coming in. So you'll start with the Gengars, they'll start going off. More unbreakable blocks, really not much to worry about. That's pretty much all of them gone in just the one move. And from there on, that's it beaten. This is one of those stages where you will find the problem of the combo going on just excessively long. I think mine's got to 115, so feel free to skip 10-15 seconds into this. There we go, ended 115, 5 moves left, a nice little S rank, very easy S rank to get. On to the next one here, we have Ninetales, just a normal Ninetales, not a Alolan Ninetales. Going in with Swampert, Palkia, Greninja and Primarina. This stage, +5 moves, relatively essential, because sometimes it can be a little bit finicky. If you're able to do it without the +5 moves, head in, do it without the +5 moves. It was more just for safety and just to be able to be sure that it would be beaten. For this one, there's a lot of barriers again, so that's what the Palkia is there for, very useful for that. Greninja just there for the power, and it's the same with Primarina for whatever that ability is, the one that gives you a lot for occasionally making a match of 4. And into this stage, just making matches with the Swampert, and that'll help to get rid of those ice blocks, those barriers, whatever you want to call them. And beyond that, trying to make matches with the Greninja and with the Primarina just to get more power out of those Pokemon, Palkia just being there for when there are copious amounts of disruptions. And beaten it there with 5 moves left, a little bit of an extra combo splash screen wipe type of thing. And another S rank, just plus 5 moves. Next up here we have Servine, another fire team with Blaziken, Ho-Oh, Reshiram and Incineroar. There will be quite a few Servine and Snivies on the field. It's not really essential to take anything like an Eject plus Pokemon or an Eject plus Pokemon, as for the most part some of them will knock themselves out, which can be quite useful. If you wanted to change the Reshiram, it's not really essential here. If you wanted to bring along something with an Eject in it, I can't think of anything. Maybe a Manaphy, but that wouldn't work with the Blaziken, so you'd need to swap that out. But if you wanted to go in with something, I can't think of any fire types that have got Eject, but even if it's not super effective, you could always just use something like a Mega Charizard, something along those lines, and surely it would do fine, may not be as good, but to get rid of some of those disruptions would probably be slightly beneficial. It just depends which route you want to go, getting rid of disruptions or trying to make more combos. And if you give one, you give the other. So luckily just a little bit of a screen wipe combo was able to get me over to the finish line. For an S rank, probably a plus 5 moves, maybe a Mega Start, something along those lines would surely see it being done. And there are some new EX stages, some new expert stages, so feel free, you'll probably want to finish up quite a few of these just so you can get those. I forget which Pokemon it exactly is, but no doubt it'll be some pretty powerful ones. 18% base catch rate, not the best again. Next up we have Sharpedo going in with Mega Aggron, plus 5 moves and a Mega Start. There's also Meloetta, Gallade and Excelgor. Excelgor there, just there for the Eject plus plus. Gallade, sometimes there are Unbreakables. I don't think there were any on this run, but occasionally there can be 2 or 3 on the thing. I did this maybe 4 or 5 times where we were just trying out different teams, seeing what worked, and to me this was the best one, so threw a couple of items in there just to make sure that it was getting as best as possible. This stage is relatively tough. The 560 stage is Mega Sharpedo. I'm not sure why, we've already got Mega Sharpedo. What I do, it may not be a universal thing, but I've got Mega Sharpedo. Mildly disappointing that it's one we've already got when there's so many other great Megas that could be had, but there's more coming, more great stuff. What to do with this? There's a lot of Sharpedos on the board, so just trying to get rid of them as much as possible. I did try bringing along Sharpedo, but it didn't really work. I found that just using something like the Mega Aggron to get rid of as many Sharpedos as possible was far more effective and more conducive to combos than bringing Sharpedo itself. Occasionally there will be disruptions with Sharpedo, and with Carvanha, you don't need to bring the Carvanha, that's only got a couple of itself in the disruptions. If you felt it necessary to bring along the Sharpedo, feel free to, it was just it didn't necessarily work as well for me. Nosedive, again just there for the Meloetta, is very helpful. Excelgor, wonderful, getting rid of as many Sharpedos as possible, and that, in my opinion, is the best way to deal with this stage, just trying to get rid of as many of those Sharpedos as possible, and then just hoping for combos after that. There's quite a few in the Skyfall. That is just the way the news goes. There we go, beat Sharpedo, no issue. Penultimately we have Volcarona, another one that's probably going to take some items, going in with +5 moves and a mega start. Going in with Mega Aerodactyl, probably the most useful one I could think of for this stage, as the main issue with this are going to be unbreakable blocks. So there's also Gigliath there for the unbreakables for the Block Smash Plus, and Talonflame, which has Block Smash Plus as well. Both of those super effective. Incineroar just there in case there's a 4 match, and the ability for Mach Punch or whatever its ability is, where you get a lot more damage done if it's occasionally a match of 4. Not a big fan of using Aerodactyl, as it's not really conducive to combos unless there are disruptions on the board. It will sometimes disrupt you with only 3, so something like the Talonflame or the Gigliath could get rid of that. Other times it almost fills the board with them. So it's probably the best one to take, it's just not really amazing for making combos when there are no disruptions. So there's slightly more disruptions, but having done this quite a few times with many different megas, trying quite a few different things out, I think I used Camerupt at one point. I tried it with Mega Charizard, I forget if it was X or Y, trying it with quite a few that would get rid of the disruptions. None of them really worked as well as Mega Aerodactyl, so that's why that's in this one. If there are any better ones you could think of, do let me know. This was just the one that I found to be most effective. There we go, just beat it, 0 moves left. In terms of the S rank, maybe something that will be very conducive to combos and a disruption delay, that's the best I could really think of. Lastly, here we have Mega Sharpedo going in with a Mega Tyranitar, Meloetta, Escavalier and Genesect. This stage, there are a lot of disruptions as you'd expect with a Mega. There's a lot of HP as you'd expect with the Mega, so complexity -1, mildly essential. There are probably no doubt ways to beat it without that. It was just I found it easiest to use that. Clear the peace of mind just to be able to beat it. Show you what it's like to use complexity -1 on this stage. I'm sure it could be done without a complexity -1, with just a disruption delay, with just +5 moves, with just a mega start, or maybe a couple fewer of them, maybe just a +5 moves and a mega start, or maybe just a +5 moves and a disruption delay. If you've got Mega Tyranitar fully candied, you might just want to forego the mega start, but here, not too terrible in this sense, just trying to make matches with the Tyranitar, with the Meloetta, looking for the nosedive, occasionally with the Genesect. I think it's got crowd control, something along those lines. If you're using the complexity -1, it's not the worst stage. If you don't use that, there's a lot of Sharpedos, and if you take Sharpedo as I tried to do, you're just going to get another support Pokemon. So you're going to have like a Pidgey in here as well as the Sharpedo, which isn't super effective, and it's just a lot to handle. So for that disruption, just making one on the second last, that way it gets rid of all of the ice. That's also what the Excelgor's Escavalier is here for, just getting rid of any extra ice, and Tyranitar hopefully just making some combos. I will be more than happy to be the first to admit that I am not the best at using Tyranitar by far. I tend to just go willy-nilly, and usually it works out somewhat well. But there we go, that was it beaten, 3 moves left. Pretty much a full item run, just missing I think the EXP plus 1.5, but that would be of no use. There we go. Final current main stage has been beaten, an A rank as well into the bargain. With that you get 1 level up and a Raise Max level, I think it is. Yep, another Raise Max level, and your little profile goes gold, which is not too shabby. There we go, cleared all main stages. Thank you very much for watching, and how do Mime Artists?
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!